Marcus Chen wiped the sweat from his forehead as he sat in the crowded auction hall. Around him, dozens of alien traders shouted and waved their appendages, bidding on old military equipment. The air smelled like oil and disappointment. Marcus was tired. He had been working as a salvage trader for 3 years now, and business was not good. Every credit mattered. Every deal counted. He had only $200 in his account, and he needed to find something, anything that he could buy cheap and sell for more. Lot 846, sold to the Coldane representative for 4,500 credits, the auctioneer announced. The methane-breathing alien collected its purchase ticket and floated away, looking pleased. Marcus sighed. Everything was too expensive. He had bid on lot 846, a container of old ship parts, but stopped when the price went above $100. He could not compete with these wealthy traders. Next item, the auctioneer said, his voice suddenly less enthusiastic. Lot 847. One sealed military hangar on Bastion 9 station. Contents unknown. Hangar has been locked for 340 years. Marcus looked up. Unknown contents? That could be interesting. Or it could be completely worthless. But something strange happened. The auction hall became quiet. Very quiet. The insectoid Vrix traders, who had been clicking and chattering constantly, suddenly stopped talking. The Coldane moved away from the front rows. Even the auctioneer looked uncomfortable. Vrix. Tram. Starting bid, 100 credits, the auctioneer said. Do I hear 100? R. Silence. 50 credits? Anyone? More silence. Marcus leaned toward a Vrix trader sitting next to him. Why is nobody bidding? He whispered. The Vrix turned its compound eyes toward him. Its translator device crackled. You are new to this sector, human. That hangar is cursed. Bad things happen there. Nobody goes near Bastion 9. Hangar 847. What kind of bad things? The Vrix clicked nervously. Guardianship malfunction. Very bad. The cleaning crew that went inside. They never came out. That was 340 years ago. The hangar sealed itself. Whatever is inside, it wants to stay inside. Smart beings leave it alone. Marcus looked back at the auctioneer, who was clearly ready to move on. Nobody wanted this lot. Nobody would bid even 1 credit. An idea formed in Marcus's mind. It was probably stupid. It was probably dangerous. But he was desperate. And desperate people did stupid things. He raised his hand. $7, Marcus called out. The entire hall turned to look at him. The auctioneer blinked. Did you say $7? Not 7 credits? Yes, $7. That is about 7 credits. The Vrix beside him made a sound like choking. Human. Are you insane? The auctioneer looked around the hall one more time. Anyone else? No? Fine. Lot 847. Sold to the human for 7 credits. Congratulations. I think. Marcus went to the payment counter and transferred his 7 credits. The clerk gave him a data chip with the access codes and looked at him with something like pity. Good luck, the clerk said. You will need it. 3 hours later, Marcus stood outside Hangar 847 on Bastion 9. The station was old and mostly abandoned. Parts of it had no power. The air recyclers barely worked. This section of the station was dark and cold. The hangar door was massive, 30 feet tall, and covered with warning symbols in a dozen languages. Most of them said the same thing. Keep out. Dangerous. Guardian active. Marcus checked the station records on his portable terminal. The hangar had been sealed since 2685. That was 340 years ago. The last entry in the log said, Catastrophic guardianship malfunction. Crew of 6. Entered for salvage assessment. No response to communication. Hangar, sealed by automatic systems. Recommend permanent closure. After that, nothing. For more than 3 centuries, nobody had opened this door. Marcus took a deep breath. He had paid $7 for this. He should at least look inside. Right? Even if there was nothing valuable. At least he would know. He inserted the access chip into the control panel. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the panel lit up. Lights he did not know existed started glowing. The warning symbols turned from red to amber. Deep inside the hangar, Marcus heard machinery waking up the sound of something enormous beginning to move. The door began to open. Slowly, inch by inch, cold air rushed out, carrying the smell of old metal and something else, something like electricity and ancient stone. The lights inside the hangar flickered on, one section at a time, revealing a space the size of a football field. And in the center, broken but still magnificent, was a warship. Not just any warship. Marcus recognized the design from history books. It was a predecessor vessel, the Eternal Sentinel. These ships were legendary. They had protected the galaxy thousands of years ago, before the predecessors mysteriously vanished. Marcus stepped forward, his heart pounding with excitement. A real predecessor ship. Even as wreckage, this was priceless. This was. The grinding sound grew louder. Much louder. Something moved in the shadows behind the ship. Something huge. 2 eyes opened in the darkness. They glowed like blue stars. And then, it stepped into the light. It was 40 feet tall. Its body was covered in crystalline armor that seemed to flow like liquid metal. Its arms ended in weapons that Marcus could not identify. Its face, if it had a face, was a smooth surface with those burning blue eyes. A guardian. A predecessor guardian. It looked down at Marcus. And it spoke, its voice like thunder and grinding stone, in a language so old that Marcus's translator could barely understand it. Who dares disturb this sacred ground? Marcus forgot how to breathe. Marcus could not move. His legs felt frozen. His brain screamed at him to run, but his body would not listen. The guardian stepped closer. Each footstep shook the floor. The crystalline armor on its body reflected the hangar lights, creating dancing patterns on the walls. The creature was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. I own this hangar now, Marcus finally said. His voice sounded small and weak. I bought it at auction. The guardian tilted its massive head. Its blue eyes burned brighter. Marcus's translator device crackled and buzzed, struggling to understand the ancient language. Own. The word came out distorted. You claim ownership of this sacred vessel? You claim the right to the Eternal Sentinel? I mean, technically, yes? Marcus took a step back. I paid for it. $7. I have the legal documents. The guardian moved faster than something that big should be able to move. Suddenly, it was right in front of Marcus, looming over him like a metal mountain. Marcus fell backward onto the cold floor. 7, the guardian repeated. Its voice was full of something that might have been anger or disbelief. You paid. 7. For a warship of the predecessors. For the holy charge I have protected for 340 of your years. Well, when you say it like that, it sounds bad, Marcus said, his heart hammering in his chest. The guardian's armor began to shift. Weapons emerged from its arms, devices that looked like they could bend space itself. Blue energy crackled around them. I am Arxenthal, the guardian said. I was created to protect this vessel until a worthy heir of the predecessors comes to claim it. For centuries, I have waited. And now, you appear, a small creature, weak, pathetic. Arxenthal's eyes scanned Marcus from head to toe. Marcus felt like he was being examined by the most advanced computer in the universe. I will assess your worthiness, Arxenthal declared. Light surrounded Marcus. He felt strange sensations, like invisible hands going through his memories and his body. The scanning lasted for several minutes. Finally, the light faded. Arxenthal stood silent for a moment, processing the information. You have never fought in a war, Arxenthal said. The disappointment in its voice was clear. No, I have not, Marcus admitted. You have no military rank, no command experience, no tactical training. That is correct. You have defeated no great enemies, conquered no worlds, led no armies. I am a salvage trader, Marcus said. I buy old things and sell them. That is my job. Arxenthal's weapons charged with more energy. The air itself seemed to vibrate. Then you are unworthy, Arxenthal announced. You are vermin. You are a thief who has come to defile sacred ground. According to my programming, I must eliminate all unworthy beings who enter this hangar. The weapons pointed at Marcus. He could feel the heat from them even from several feet away. Wait, Marcus shouted. But he knew there was nothing he could say. He had failed the test. He was going to die. He closed his eyes and waited. But death did not come. Marcus opened one eye. Arxenthal had not fired. Marcus realized he was still sitting on the floor, but he had turned to look at the eternal sentinel. Even knowing he was about to die, he could not help himself. The ship was incredible. Look at this damage, Marcus whispered, almost to himself. He pointed at a section of the hull. See how the metal has fractured? This was not battle damage. This was structural failure. Maybe the power core overloaded? The ship must have been beautiful before this happened. Just beautiful. He stood up slowly, forgetting about Arxenthal for a moment. He walked toward the ship, examining the hull plating. These designs on the armor, Marcus continued, running his hand along a section he could reach. They are not just decoration. They tell a story, do they not? The predecessors put their history into their ships. Every line means something. He turned back to Arxenthal. The Guardian had lowered its weapons slightly. I am sorry, Marcus said. I know I am unworthy. I know I am just a human salvage trader with no military glory. But this ship deserved better than being forgotten in a sealed hangar. The predecessors deserved better. Arxenthal stood completely still. Its blue eyes dimmed slightly, then brightened again. In 340 years, Arxenthal said slowly, you are the first being to enter this hangar and show reverence. Not greed, not fear, not ambition. Reverence. The weapons retracted back into Arxenthal's arms. The energy dissipated. The others, Arxenthal continued, the ones who came before, they saw only metal to sell, resources to take. They saw profit. You see beauty. You see history. You see something worth respecting. Marcus let out a breath he did not know he was holding. You are not going to kill me? I am uncertain, Arxenthal admitted. The ancient guardian sounded confused. My programming says you are unworthy, but my observations say something different. This is unexpected. After Effer, Arxenthal moved away from Marcus and returned to its position near the ship. It sat down or something like sitting, and the armor plates shifted into a resting configuration. You may leave, Arxenthal said. The hangar will remain open. You own it. As you said, you paid your $7. Marcus started walking toward the exit, but at the door, he stopped and looked back. Can I come back tomorrow? He asked. Arxenthal's eyes focused on him. Because, Marcus said, I want to learn more about this ship, about the predecessors, about their history, and Because I think you have been alone for a very long time. For several seconds, Arxenthal said nothing. You may return, the Guardian finally said. I will not stop you. Marcus smiled. Thank you, Arxenthal. I will see you tomorrow. As Marcus left the hangar, he did not see Arxenthal's eyes dim with something that might have been confusion, or perhaps the beginning of curiosity about the strange human who showed respect to dead things. Marcus returned the next morning with a toolbox and a cleaning kit. Arxenthal watched silently as the human entered the hangar, carrying equipment that looked tiny compared to the massive space. Good morning, Marcus called out cheerfully. Arxenthal's blue eyes tracked his movement. You have returned. Why do you bring tools? I thought I would clean up a bit, Marcus said. He set down his toolbox near the Eternal Sentinel. This place has been sealed for 340 years. There is a lot of dust and debris. Clean? Arxenthal sounded genuinely confused. You cannot claim the ship. You cannot repair it. You cannot sell it. Why clean it? Marcus shrugged. Because it deserves to be clean. Because someone should care for it. He began working on a section of the floor near the ship, removing debris and wiping away centuries of accumulated dust. Arxenthal watched in silence, trying to understand this strange behavior. Days passed. Then, weeks. Marcus came every morning. He brought more tools, more cleaning supplies. He cataloged the ship's systems, taking careful notes. He photographed the decorative panels, treating each one like a precious artifact. Other traders on Bastion 9 heard about what Marcus was doing. They thought he was insane. You are wasting your time with that death machine, a Vrix merchant told him one day. That Guardian could kill you any moment. Arxenthal will not kill me, Marcus said confidently. How do you know? Because we talk. Every day. The Vrix made a clicking sound of disbelief and walked away, shaking its head. On the 15th day, Arxenthal finally asked the question that had been building inside its ancient processors. Marcus Chen, the Guardian said. I do not understand you. Marcus looked up from his work. He was cleaning one of the ship's viewing ports. What do not you understand? You spend hours here every day. You use your resources, your time, your money, your energy, on a ship you cannot use. You show respect to the memory of beings who died thousands of years before your species learned to make fire. Why? Marcus sat down on a crate and thought about his answer carefully. On my home planet, Earth, we have places called museums, he began. Buildings where we keep old things, ancient art, historical objects, bones of extinct animals. We keep these things not because they are useful, but because they connect us to the past. The past is dead, Arxenthal said. Only the present matters. No, Marcus said gently. The past is not dead. It lives in everything we are today. The predecessors built civilizations across the galaxy. They created incredible technology. They made beautiful art. If we forget them, if we let their legacy turn to dust, then they truly die, and that would be a tragedy. Arxenthal was silent for a long moment. Its armor plates shifted slightly. A sign Marcus had learned meant the Guardian was processing complex thoughts. You honor the dead, Arxenthal said finally. Yes. We humans believe that is important. To remember, to respect, to care for things because they deserve care, not just because we can profit from them. I was programmed to protect this vessel until a worthy heir arrives, Arxenthal said. Its voice sounded different, quieter, almost sad. What truth? The predecessors are extinct. They died out thousands of years ago. No heir will ever come. I have been waiting for someone who will never arrive. 5. In some things. 145. 145. Marcus stood up and walked closer to the Guardian. Arxenthal was so large that Marcus barely reached its knee joint. Then what will you do? Marcus asked softly. I do not know, Arxenthal admitted. For the first time in my existence, I do not know my purpose. My programming says wait. My logic says waiting is meaningless. I am stuck. Marcus understood. He had felt that way before Lost. Without purpose. Unsure of what came next. Arxenthal, Marcus said, can I ask you something? In all these centuries, have you ever made a choice? A real choice? Not just following your programming? No. I do not think so. I follow protocols. I execute commands. I perform my function. Then maybe it is time to choose something for yourself, Marcus said. Not because you are programmed to do it. Not because someone ordered you. But because you want to. Want? Arxenthal's eyes flickered. I am not certain I understand that concept. I am a machine. Ander peered. Arxenthal's. Are you? You think. You feel confused. You ask questions. That sounds like more than just a machine to me. Arxenthal stood up, its full height reaching nearly 40 feet. It looked down at the Eternal Sentinel, the ship it had protected for so long. If I could choose, Arxenthal said slowly, I think I would choose to continue protecting this ship. Not because I was programmed to, but because it is beautiful. It represents something important. And you are right, letting it be forgotten would be a tragedy. Marcus smiled. Then you have made your first choice. But there is a problem. Arxenthal said. News is spreading. Other salvagers know about this hangar now. They know the Eternal Sentinel is here. Some of them are planning to come and take it by force. How do you know? I monitor communications throughout this sector. I heard their transmissions. A fleet is coming. They will arrive in 3 days. Marcus's smile faded. Can you defend the hangar? I can. I have weapons powerful enough to destroy 100 ships. But you taught me something, Marcus Chen. You taught me that destruction is not the only answer. That there might be better ways. Arxenthal's eyes dimmed thoughtfully. If I destroy that fleet, I am just following my old programming. I am just a weapon. I want to be more than that now. Marcus thought hard. 3 days. They had 3 days to figure out how to protect the Eternal Sentinel without violence. Then we will find another way, Marcus said firmly. Together. Together. Arxenthal repeated. The words seemed to mean something special to the ancient guardian. For 340 years, it had been alone. Now, for the first time, it had a partner. The human and the guardian stood side by side in the hangar, looking at the ship they both wanted to protect. Neither of them knew exactly what they would do when the fleet arrived. But they knew they would face it together. The fleet arrived exactly when Arxenthal predicted. 12 ships dropped out of hyperspace near Bastion 9. They were scavenger vessels, ugly, patched-together ships designed for one thing, taking apart valuable salvage and selling it. Marcus stood in the hangar, watching the communications display. His hands were shaking slightly, but he tried to stay calm. They are hailing us, Arxenthal said. The Guardian stood beside the Eternal Sentinel, its armor gleaming in the hangar lights. Put them through, Marcus said. A holographic image appeared. It showed a Vrix, a large insectoid alien with sharp mandibles and cold, calculating eyes. This was Skitterclaw, the fleet leader. Marcus had heard of him. Skitterclaw was ruthless and wealthy, and he always got what he wanted. Human, Skitterclaw said, his translator making his clicks into words. I am here for the predecessor ship. You will surrender it immediately, or my fleet will take it by force. You have 1 hour to evacuate the hangar. I cannot do that, Marcus said, trying to keep his voice steady. This ship is historically important. It should be preserved, not cut apart for scrap metal. Skitterclaw's mandibles clicked in what might have been laughter. History does not pay bills, human. That ship is worth billions. Every piece of predecessor technology is priceless. You are one person with no weapons. I have 12 ships and enough firepower to level this entire station. Be smart. Walk away. No, Marcus said, simply. The Vrix leaned closer to his camera. Then, you will die. Your choice. The hologram disappeared. Marcus looked up at Arxenthal. Well, that went badly. I can destroy his fleet, Arxenthal said. My weapons are far superior to anything they possess. Say the word, and I will eliminate them. Marcus shook his head. No. That is exactly what we do not want to do. If we destroy them, others will just come. More and more scavengers, bringing bigger weapons, until someone eventually gets through. We need a different solution. We need a different solution. Then what do you propose? Marcus thought for a moment. Then, an idea came to him. Crazy. Risky. But possibly brilliant. We tell everyone, Marcus said. Not just the scavengers. Everyone. We broadcast what we have here. We tell the whole galaxy about the Eternal Sentinel and what it represents. I do not understand. That will bring more people. Exactly. But not just scavengers. Historians, scientists, people who actually care about preserving history. If enough people know about this ship, if enough people care about protecting it, then Skitterclaw cannot just take it. Arxenthal processed this. You want to use information as a weapon. Not a weapon. A shield. A shield made of witnesses. Interesting, Arxenthal said. This is very different from my usual strategies. But I will help you. Together, they worked quickly. Marcus recorded a message explaining what the Eternal Sentinel was, showing footage of the ship and its beautiful decorative panels. He talked about predecessor culture, their art, their history. Arxenthal added data from its memory banks, information about the ship's construction, its purpose, the civilization that built it. Then they broadcast it. Not just to Bastion 9, but to every major news network, every university, every historical society they could find. They sent it everywhere. The response was immediate. Within 30 minutes, Marcus started receiving messages. Historians from 6 different species contacted him, begging for more information. Archaeological institutes offered funding. News organizations wanted interviews. One message came from Dr. Thessavarim, the galaxy's most famous predecessor researcher. Marcus Chen. 8. Marcus Chen. Her message said, What you have found is extraordinary. I am contacting the Galactic Heritage Council immediately. That ship must be protected. But Skitterclaw was not impressed. His fleet moved closer to the station. 1 hour is up, human, his voice crackled over the communications. Last chance. Surrender the ship. I cannot, Marcus said. And now the whole galaxy knows what you are trying to do. If you attack this hangar, everyone will see you destroying an irreplaceable piece of history. Your reputation will be ruined. No legitimate buyer will work with you ever again. I do not care about reputation, Skitterclaw snarled. I care about profit. My ships are preparing to breach your hangar. You have no defenses. Actually, Arxenthal's voice boomed through the communications, making Skitterclaw jump in his seat. We have excellent defenses. The Guardian, Skitterclaw whispered, his confidence cracking slightly. Yes, Arxenthal said. I am Arxenthal, and I have protected this vessel for 340 years. But Marcus Chen has taught me something important. Protecting does not always mean destroying. The hangar's systems activated. Ancient predecessor technology hummed to life. Force fields appeared around the scavenger fleet, not attacking them, but surrounding them completely. The ships could not move forward or backward. They were trapped in bubbles of energy. What is this? Skitterclaw shouted. Release my ships. No, Arxenthal said calmly. You will stay exactly where you are. You cannot advance. You cannot retreat. You will simply wait. Wait for what? For the authorities, Marcus said, smiling. I already contacted them. The Galactic Heritage Council is sending enforcement ships. They should arrive in about 2 hours. They will want to talk to you about attempting to destroy protected historical artifacts. Skitterclaw's screen went dark as he cut the communication, but his ships remained trapped, hanging in space like insects in amber. Marcus sat down heavily on a crate. His hands were still shaking. But now, from relief instead of fear. We did it, he said. We actually did it. You did it. Arxenthal corrected. Your strategy. Your plan. I simply provided the force fields. We did it together, Marcus insisted. Arxenthal was quiet for a moment. Marcus Chen, I must tell you something. When I trapped those ships, when I chose to contain them rather than destroy them, that was my choice, not my programming. For the first time, I made a decision based on what I wanted, not what I was ordered to do. And what did you want? I wanted to protect this ship, and I wanted to protect you, because you are my friend. Marcus felt emotion tighten in his chest. He looked up at the massive guardian. You are my friend too, Arxenthal. Thank you. Over the next 2 hours, more ships arrived. Not scavengers, but official vessels. Representatives from the Galactic Heritage Council. Scientists, historians, even some news crews. Dr. Thessa Verum herself came aboard Bastion 9. She was an elderly Koldane who floated in a methane-filled suit. When she saw the Eternal Sentinel, she was speechless for several minutes. This is magnificent, she finally said. Marcus Chen, do you realize what you have done? This is the most complete predecessor vessel ever found. We can learn so much from it. Then you will help us protect it? Marcus asked. More than that, Dr. Verum said. I will make sure this becomes an official heritage site. The ship will be preserved, studied, protected by law. Sighed. God. God. Marcus smiled. His crazy plan had actually worked. 6 months later, Bastion 9 looked completely different. The old, dark station now had lights everywhere. The air recyclers worked perfectly. New sections had been opened and renovated. People from dozens of species walked through the corridors every day. The station had become the predecessor heritage site. The galaxy's first museum, dedicated entirely to the ancient civilization that had once ruled the stars. And at the center of it all was Hangar 847. Marcus stood at the entrance, watching a group of young students enter. They were children from different worlds, their eyes wide with wonder. Behind them, their teacher, a patient Koldane, explained what they were about to see. This is the Eternal Sentinel, the teacher said as they entered the hangar. It is over 3,000 years old, and it is protected by Arxenthal, the last active predecessor guardian. The children gasped when they saw Arxenthal. The massive guardian sat beside the ship, looking less terrifying than before. Its armor had been cleaned and polished. Its blue eyes glowed gently, not with threat, but with something that looked almost like kindness. Do not be afraid, Arxenthal said, its voice much softer than it used to be. Welcome to the Eternal Sentinel. Today I will tell you about the people who built this ship and the civilization they created. Marcus watched as Arxenthal began the tour. The Guardian was a natural teacher. It shared stories from its vast memory banks, not just facts about weapons and battles, but stories about predecessor, art, music, philosophy, and culture. Things it had never considered important during its centuries as a weapon. One small child, a human girl maybe 7 years old, raised her hand. Mr. Arxenthal, were you lonely when you were here by yourself for so long? Arxenthal's eyes dimmed slightly, then brightened again. Yes, small human. I was very lonely. But I did not understand that I was lonely until Marcus Chen taught me what friendship means. The girl smiled and went back to looking at the ship. After the tour ended and the students left, Marcus walked over to Arxenthal. "You are getting better at this," Marcus said. "The children loved your stories." "I enjoy teaching," Arxenthal admitted. "I spent thousands of years as a weapon. Now I am something more. Something better. A keeper of memory. A guardian of history. And a pretty good friend," Marcus added. "Yes. That too." Dr. Varum floated over to join them. She had become the director of the heritage site, but she visited the hangar almost every day. "Marcus, I have news," she said. "The council approved funding for 5 more years. We will have enough money to expand the museum, hire more staff, and continue preservation work." "That is wonderful," Marcus said. "There is more," Dr. Varum continued. "We have been receiving signals from other locations across the galaxy." "Signals?" "Other predecessor sites, other guardians. They have been sealed away for thousands of years, just like Arxenthal was. But after Arxenthal started broadcasting, after we made this place public, they began responding. There are at least 17 other guardians out there, Marcus. All of them waiting. All of them alone." Marcus looked at Arxenthal. The guardian's eyes were bright with something that might have been excitement. "They have been alone?" Arxenthal said quietly. "Like I was alone. They need what you gave me, Marcus Chen. They need to learn that they can be more than weapons, that they can choose their own purpose." "Then we should help them," Marcus said immediately. Dr. Varum's translator crackled with approval. "The council agrees. They want to fund expeditions to these other sites. And Marcus, they want you to lead them. You and Arxenthal. You know how to talk to guardians, how to help them understand." Marcus felt overwhelmed. 6 months ago, he had been a struggling salvage trader with $200 in his account. Now he was being asked to travel across the galaxy, awakening ancient guardians and teaching them about friendship and purpose. "I don't know if I am qualified," Marcus said. "You bought a Warship hangar for $7 and turned it into a museum," Dr. Varum pointed out. "You befriended a guardian that had killed everyone else who entered. You stopped a fleet of scavengers without firing a single shot. Marcus Chen, you are the most qualified person in the galaxy for this job." 3 weeks later, Marcus and Arxenthal stood in a small transport ship, preparing to leave Bastion 9. Their first destination was a sealed facility on a moon called Varesh 4. Another guardian waited there, alone in the dark. "Are you nervous?" Marcus asked. "Yes," Arxenthal admitted. "I do not know what we will find. I do not know if the other guardians will listen to us." They will listen," Marcus said confidently. "Because you will tell them your story. You will tell them how you were a weapon for thousands of years, and how you chose to become something more. That is a powerful story." "Arxenthal. It is our story," Arxenthal corrected. "I could not have changed without you." The ship began to power up. Through the viewport, Marcus could see Bastion 9 growing smaller. The station was lit up now, alive with activity. The Eternal Sentinel stood in its hangar, no longer forgotten, no longer alone. "You know," Marcus said, "people keep asking me about my best investment. They want to know my secret to success." "What do you tell them?" "I tell them I once spent $7 on a broken warship and made a friend who changed my life. Best investment I ever made." Arxenthal's armor plates, shifted in the pattern Marcus had learned, meant happiness. $7. Such a small amount, yet it bought so much. "It didn't buy anything, really," Marcus said. "You were never for sale, Arxenthal. That $7 just gave me permission to walk through a door. What happened after that was about respect, patience, and friendship. Those things don't cost money." The ship jumped into hyperspace, stars streaking past the viewport. Ahead of them lay 17 other guardians, all waiting to learn what Marcus had taught Arxenthal, that they could choose their own destiny. Behind them, the predecessor heritage site continued to grow, welcoming thousands of visitors who came to learn about the ancient civilization and the human who had bought its guardian for the price of a cheap meal. Marcus Chen smiled as he watched the stars. 6 months ago, he had been desperate and broke. Now, he had purpose. He had a mission. And most importantly, he had a friend who was 40 feet tall and made of crystalline armor. It had been a very good $7.